Welcome to the aowhodis podcast. We are in a new location, as you can tell from the last podcast. We tried to get a little bit more comfortable this time, which I very much like. I'm liking my hammock. I'm sure you're liking your chair.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah?
Chair.
We're used to these, $5 blue Home Depot chairs.
And then just this white desk of nothingness. Yeah. And now we got the premium. It's a very special occasion. This is our 18th episode, and I think on episode 7 or 8 we had this room last. Mm-hmm. So about every 10 episodes, you guys get a little treat in this nice space, and it's different every time.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping every time it happens there will be an upgrade, because last time we didn't have this hammock.
No hammock.
And it's very nice, you know.
W hammock, bro.
W hammock.
You got something special cooking up, so I'm excited.
Since our last podcast, I've been thinking, and I remembered something that we used to be just fully devoted to for, I'd say, a good 2 or 3 months of our life. Mm-hmm. We had this business idea, $1 million business idea, back in the day.
Tell 'em, Owen.
Melatonin vapes. Now, hear me out. Everybody needs to sleep, right? And not everybody is able to fall asleep when they want to. So our idea was, instead of pills like melatonin pills that take 30 minutes to kick in, we have a vape that has melatonin in it. 10 seconds, you take the hit, you exhale, you start feeling tired. And we thought this was going to go so far.
So we thought this was going to be our $1 million business idea.
And you know what? We ended up, it started fizzling out. And I'm not even sure why we ended up fizzling it out. I'm going to have there are a couple of reasons, small reasons why. But I don't know why we finished it. I feel like, you know what? I give you guys permission to go out and run wild with the idea.
Take the IP and just use it.
And if you make money, we only ask for 10%. Just kidding.
We say 15.
15? Yeah, 15, 20 maybe. Just talk to us then.
Yeah. Just after you make money, you contact us and let us know.
But you know what? I feel like it could still be a strategy. Like, ever since then, there's still not been a company that's gone out and gotten it popular. Right.
So I think what pulled us away was we went to this Chinese website and we were contacting this lady, which was definitely a man. You know what I mean? Not a lady.
Stock photo.
They have these thing called MOQs, minimum order quantities, and after everything, it would have been $50,000 to and for me, when I saw 50000, I was clocked out, by the way. And this was 16, 17-year-old me, bro. I did not understand.
Or have that money.
And guess what? I still don't understand have that money. So nothing's changed.
Right. So from what I remember is, we were the reason we were so excited about it is because we originally had ended up going to that site and, getting a sample. So we ended up getting 10 of the pens that we were going to sell. And we were like, hey, we love this, We ended up having a small problem with that company, so we ended up trying to go to another one. And as we were transitioning to this other company, the regulations in China started genuinely
crazy
changing.
How that works.
Right. So either A, they were just full lying to us and they didn't want to sell to us, or B, genuinely, the Chinese regulations started changing so that we couldn't order just a small batch of it anymore. We had to order $30,000 worth, which is what he was saying, Yeah. $50,000 or $30,000 worth of vape pens, and that made me nervous. I did not want to do all that.
Yeah, me neither.
Nor did I have the money for that.
We didn't have because we thought it would be a nice easy
flip, you know. Yeah. Something slight.
Yeah, and we also, this is an interesting perspective, but I don't think we just had the capacity. We didn't understand. And to be honest, nor do we still understand, or at least for me, the capacity for how much work it would have took. We didn't understand that there were going to be unforeseen problems.
Yeah. Well, we wrote out our business plan, and it would have all of these things that we have to do, and we'd have the set amount of hours that we thought it would take next to it. And it was always just so small. It would be
2 hours.
Start and finish website, 6 hours. Do this, 2 hours. And I'm like, bro, as you get older,
we had no capacity for that. And it's why I was actually really proud of us when we decided, because you and me have done a couple of, quote, business ventures before we decided to do YouTube, which, make no mistake, is not a business venture, right? But we approached this very differently than we approached everything else. And I think that's because we had the experience from everything else to know, at least on some level, expect the unexpected. Yeah. And we knew the type of people that we were. You know what I mean? And so
I think we learned so much from those experiences.
100%. I'm grateful for those experiences because they taught us a lot about just about everything, bro.
Yeah, and it took us a couple of years, but we finally ended up getting a client for one of our businesses. And that was a big feeling.
It was a big day.
It was maybe 1,000% less cost than what it should have been, but we just wanted a first customer.
Yeah.
We charged them $25 for maybe like a $500
I
detail.
remember that, bro. We went door to door.
We went to
flyers.
the thing and they didn't even have running water. And do you remember that? Do you remember the one where?
No, that was our second.
Was it?
Our
was it
first was when we went door to door with flyers.
Yeah, that's right.
And then they just called us.
Yeah.
One person called us with the flyers, and we did a job. And then
I forgot about that.
I think you couldn't pull up for like half of it, and so
Yeah.
I did most of it. And
did.
so just want to throw that out there.
Right.
And then you pulled up for the last part. And then it was like a car detail or like a wash or something.
Yeah, it was one of our
nice.
first. It was pretty much one of our first like car washes, car details.
I think it was my first interaction with
Right.
from like a service provider to like a customer ever.
And I was already going to be an hour late because I had my practice graduation for high school.
Oh, is that the reason?
Mm-hmm. And then you get there, and I'm at my practice graduation, like, gown on, and people are walking up to the thing. And you're texting me, you're like, bro, this person does not have, like, running water. It's slowly dripping out of the
Oh, my
hose.
goodness, bro. That was the problem.
That's what it
because
was.
we tried it with your, I guess, so houses have 4 gallon a minute out the thing. Theirs was like negative 3 gallons a minute. It sucked in water, bro. Like the spray thing did not freaking spray because we tried it on your car in your house and it was great, it worked perfect. And then when I did it, I pressed it and it was just like
The water pressure
bro.
was
When
off.
I saw that, bro, I was like, all right, guys, I'm packing it up now.
Because with mobile detailing, you don't pull up with this van full of water. You end up using
At
the
our
customer's-
level,
right,
level.
Right. Well, yeah. So you end up using the customer's water, and if the customer's water is off, then there's not really much you can do.
Yeah.
Except we tried.
Their
We did
water
it.
was on though, and we ended up getting the detail. It was a successful job. We got paid $5 tip too.
Yeah, and you know what? We charged low enough that we still did a good job.
It was
compared to how much we
low. It was
charged,
low.
yeah.
25 for like a
Right. We did more.
Pretty good
than-
exterior
We
detail.
did better than a $25 job on that car, in my opinion.
100%, yeah. And then our second job, which we didn't really understand this that well either.
That's right.
Was we went to some dude's apartment complex, and he was like, "I want my car detailed."
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm like, "Okay." We're like, "Okay." So we pull up to this guy's thing, meet him, and it was like, "Great," and good interaction. And then we're just like, "So where's your spigot?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Spigot? What you mean?"
Even though we put that in the ad, like, we need water and electricity,
Yep.
and that's it.
You just, I got you, bro. Just use my faucet. I'm just kidding. And so we just ended up not being able to do that.
Well, we did like multiple laps around the apartment building. We couldn't find a single spigot.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I don't know how building
So
I
many
feel like
problems.
legality was.
I
You
had a
have
lot of
to-
similar problems in pressure washing, where it's just like so many like unforeseen things. Like you just don't expect these things to happen, and they just do.
Yeah, yeah. The cost of running a business. I like it though.
I enjoy it a lot. I mean, yeah, I enjoy it a lot. I used to really want to be like build a business and be like an entrepreneur and everything. That used to be like what I thought was like my freaking reason for living at one point.
You think that's changed?
100%, yeah, drastically.
Really? I mean, I still feel like I see entrepreneurship traits in you. Like I still feel like
Yeah.
you like doing it.
I'm still. I mean, it's still. I've kind of reframed it from like a. I think it was like it used to. I used to think it was my number one priority above everything else to be like a millionaire. I realized that that wasn't the case at all. It was just I wanted people to see me be a millionaire.
Interesting.
And that statement right there took literally like 4 years for me to admit. Like you hear that and it's like nothing, but to me, that's a really hard to admit statement, and I'm very proud of myself to be able to admit it today. And so I've kind of reframed what I see as a career of like, I'm careful to say I don't care about making money because that's not true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it also, this is something that I've, and maybe we can pivot the discussion a little bit to like, this is something I've spent copious amounts of time thinking about, hundreds of hours thinking about. Like I go on walks in the morning, like every day, only thinking about this one thing. And it's like, and I don't know if this is the best frame of mind to have, and I'm curious what you think about this before I give my answer to this at 20 years old. So, what I'm kind of trying to frame through as a career right now is, what if I never succeeded, what would I be okay with dying trying to do? I don't know if that's the best
Like if you
frame.
never succeeded in what?
Yeah, if I died trying, what would I want to die trying to do? If I never succeeded, what would I be okay never succeeding wanting to do? You know what I mean? I don't know if that's the best frame. I think it's a really good frame, but I just don't know. I'm curious what you think about that.
Interesting. So I guess it's kind of like what I'm trying to figure out how to frame that in my mind. So it's like choose goals that even if you don't complete in your lifetime, you're okay with the path of doing the goal, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that. I mean, I think that's also kind of similar to how I think about it is set a goal too high and try your best. Try like failing at achieving a goal too high is better than having a goal too low and hitting it, you know? And so that kind of goes along to those lines. And so I definitely agree with that in a way. I don't really actually have a butt to that, you know?
Yeah. It's something I really have spent so much time thinking about. And I think I've come to a conclusion. And I've pretty definitively come to a conclusion. I'm just careful to like say those things because I was pretty definitive about wanting to be a millionaire
Right.
like 2 years ago, and only coming to realize that I didn't want that at all. And I was a complete fool for wanting that, and I actually wanted something completely different. And it took me a long time to actually realize that. So I'm careful to say those things, and I try not to. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it now on the podcast. On the podcast, I think YouTube, bro.
Yeah.
And I've thought about this a lot.
Or it sounds like you still want it, but you've changed to not feeling like you need to get it. You know,
Get what?
Like being a millionaire. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
yeah. No, I don't care at all anymore to be a millionaire. No, I don't care. I need enough money to live,
Right.
but I don't, and hopefully have a family someday. But I think, and I don't have any right to say this, nor do I have any context to understand what this means. So this statement literally has no weight behind it, and I fully understand that. With that said, I'm going to go say it. Like I just said, I think I would be okay with dying trying to do YouTube, and I would be content with failure.
Yeah.
But then it gets to the question of like, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, of like, it's not really failure if you never give up.
Right.
It's just not success.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think I'm perfectly content with that. Like if I spent the rest of my life trying to be a quote YouTuber and failed, even if you quit, even if whatever, I think I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
And
I think so too.
And that's,
even if we don't succeed in YouTube, I won't regret doing it at all.
Yeah.
You know?
Like if I in, 50 years or tomorrow or somewhere in between die when trying to do YouTube, I'm content with that. I'm perfectly content with that. I spent a lot of time thinking about it, and I think YouTube's the thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Whether I succeed or not, I enjoy it.
Fills that contentness in your...
It fills everything I needed to fill, except for the validation I get from others. But I don't think that's a good frame of mind at all. I think it's a flaw of mine. And so when I ignore that, which took again years to try to ignore, I think it's YouTube, bro.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that validation from others is, like seeking validation from others is a flaw?
Yeah, when you base your whole what you want to do with your life around it, like I want to be a millionaire, but I don't care how I get there. I think that is flawed for me. Not that wanting to be a millionaire is a bad thing. It just was for me because I became.
Seems like wanting to look like a millionaire.
It gave me an ego.
Mm-hmm.
Like it.
I want to succeed so other people see me succeed.
Yeah, and I also thought that being ambitious meant something when it doesn't at all.
Really?
The work behind the ambition matters. Ironically, the work that nobody sees is what actually matters, but the only person who sees the work is you. Mm-hmm. It's also the only opinion that actually matters. So it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you skip it, you're only cheating yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm confident in saying that, and I know what it means to me, but I know that statement, I'll be the first one to say, means nothing to anybody.
How
because
so?
The statement of me, like I'd die trying to be a YouTuber.
Oh, right.
It means nothing to anybody because I'm 20 years old. I have no context of what a YouTuber actually means. I don't know what YouTube's going to be in 50 years. I said the same thing about being a millionaire at 18. In some ways, maybe I'm making the same mistake. Who knows? But I know what I had to go through to make that statement, and I think I don't think anything. I just know I know it means nothing.
Right.
But
and
I'm saying
even if it were to be a mistake, I feel like making a mistake on the way to a goal is better than not making a mistake and not having any direction. You know what I mean? Like you made your choice and you're sticking to it, and that's the best option that you can go for the most part. You know, like just choosing something and making the best out of it. You know, for better or for worse.
How do you think through careers at like 20 years old, like college, other things, stuff like that? You know what I mean?
I think. I mean, I actually had a lot of thinking. I think very similar to you on the YouTube aspect, you know, like...
That's good, bro.
Yeah, right?
That's convenient.
Yeah, like, I mean, for the most part, I enjoy doing this, and so even if we don't pop off, and no matter how long that takes, I'm okay with doing it because I enjoy the input of it.
Me too.
And not the reaction I get from the analytics on YouTube. Even though that does I can't lie and say that definitely I do seek external validation in that aspect in a way, and that could be a flaw as well, but there's definitely a part of me that goes on YouTube analytics hoping that something good happened because I'm just
I check YouTube to see what everything.
Right, I'm hoping somebody's just like, hey, I love this. This is gonna go great.
Makes you feel good.
I'm definitely searching for that external validation. But even if I didn't have that, even before we had those first few comments, I was having the most fun doing this kind of stuff.
Too.
So this for sure. And to continue the question, when I think about college, I try to keep an open mind about it. I'm trying to. I see some people in college who they have their very specific career field. They have a career that they want to do, and they have to get a very specific degree to do it. You know what I mean? Which I think is great. They've been able to find their path and they chose it.
Phenomenal.
And I think that's great. But I don't think I have that. So, no, I don't have that. So I'm doing more degrees that are a little bit more general, and so I don't really know too far into the future what's going to happen. I can't predict exactly what's going to happen, but if I keep my options open now, then I should be okay. But I don't want to steer off the questions you originally asked, which is how do you think about the career and aspect of what do you call it,
how you frame what you
how would you say it?
I think about it you can't split test life, and so you kind of have to play a guessing game of what you think you might want to be doing at 50. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so thinking through that is something that I try to do really often, and I think career is a big part, if not the disproportionate majority part of that. And so I'm curious your thoughts of all of that.
Yeah, I try to actually. My father ended up giving me a really good piece of advice on this. It's basically just listen. If you don't know and you can't exactly predict what's going to happen in the future, especially at 50 years old, just keep as many doors open as you possibly can. So just keep as many options open as you can. And that's kind of the philosophy that I go through it with.
That's interesting.
Actually, eventually in college, you do have to choose. There's a certain point where you can't take gen ed classes anymore, and you have to choose. That's what you're going to do. And so I'll make my own choice on that aspect. But for the most part, I'm just trying to keep my doors open.
I feel like I'm the exact opposite.
Really?
Probably to my detriment. But I feel like I'm the exact opposite. I feel like I'm closing.
I think it's good if you can choose one to be happy with that.
I feel like I'm closing every door but YouTube and what allows me to do YouTube in a career. And I don't know, bro. Is it bad that I don't think that's a bad thing?
I don't think so. I mean, I kind of actually heard another similar saying to that is, it's just, as a kid, you have all this potential in the world to do anything you want to do. And as you get older, you sacrifice 99% of those opportunities so you can really make one shine, So, the answer isn't to just keep as many options open as possible. I think there's, also a path to take where you have to choose an option, and choosing an option earlier is better, and just rolling with it, choosing it and being okay with that choice and just maximizing the best you can do. And so
but it's
that's
also more risky because what if you're wrong?
It is more risky, but there's more opportunity for growth on that aspect.
But I'm okay with being. I don't know, bro. I'm okay with being wrong. I've decided. Right. If I'm wrong about this, I'm wrong about this. I bet I won't be. I'm betting I won't be. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I've fully.
And what even is wrong in my head? Even if we don't get the most views on YouTube, that still isn't even that's still considered a success to me in a way.
No, yeah. I mean,
so
I've framed success completely. Defining it as just for me, the way that I think through my everything is just success equals sticking to your systems. If you stick to your systems in the day, you're successful, and if you don't, you're a failure. Which means that the way that I think about it, which whatever, I am just as successful today as I will ever be, no matter how objectively, from objective measures, how successful I am or much of a failure I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
My inner success is exactly the same as it will ever be. And that frame has really helped me for just everything.
I respect that state of mind. I think it's hard to get to.
Maybe it's not I don't I'm not gonna, recommend anybody who's younger than me to do this, to where it's like dedicate all resources to one thing, career wise.
Right.
But it's what I'm doing, and if failure would just be stopping. So if I never stop, I never fail, and if I never stop, I don't think I'll stop being happy.
Right.
I don't think it's a guessing game. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know.
Is there ever a certain point where we stop enjoying this?
That might be the one angle the camera can't pick you up.
Okay, my bad. I'm trying my best. I'm gonna go like this.
Yeah, that's one. The camera can perfectly pick you up.
Okay, if you can pick me up like this, it's so much more comfortable.
No, yeah, you're perfectly in frame right now.
Sounds good.
I hope, bro. No,
Yeah,
really.
right.
He is.
Would you ever get a tattoo?
Probably. Yeah, I've been wanting to.
Really?
I have on my phone. I have in Japanese just because I think it's cool. I have "Don't think, just win," or not. I'm sorry, not win. Just don't think, just go.
Okay.
Just win is Alex Formose's thing. That's why I got confused. But don't think, just go is a good frame. Is like my top frame of like all of the frames. And I think I would get a tattoo like in Japanese letters, like all like down my back. I feel like that'd be really cool.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be tough actually.
What about you?
I think I need to do nothing or a full like arm sleeve, something from maybe. No, I'm serious. Like maybe
Nothing or everything.
Maybe like starting my chest and then going up my shoulder and then down my arm.
Like a dragon or something.
Yeah, I think that'd be tough, and then stopping right here so that
That'd be
if I wear
cool.
long sleeves, then it won't show at all. You know what I mean?
That's interesting.
Either that, or I was thinking actually something similar to you, like something on my back, kind of going up on my back and shoulders. I think that'd be cool, like a Phantom Troop, Hunter x Hunter. Seriously.
Yeah, I would just like it. I want it to be symmetrical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want one thing on one arm and not on the other, but I also wouldn't want it on both because that's a little tacky. I feel like the back, like middle back,
The back
is, like,
has to be
one spot.
symmetrical for
because
me.
you can hide it for like anything unless you like go to the pool. You can hide it on your back. You know what I mean? And so I think it's fine.
The maintenance would be annoying though.
What's maintenance for a tattoo?
I think for the first month you gotta wash it every day, keep it covered and
Oh,
stuff.
well, then I just
wouldn't
suffer
go
through the
see it.
first month and survive.
Yeah, but for the back it would have to be symmetrical, like the exact same thing on the
Yeah,
left and right
yeah.
side. But I'd be okay with doing just one arm.
Or I get something on my left leg,
Left.
just left.
I'd do my left arm. Left arm would be cool.
Yeah,
left leg would be cool actually too.
Are you dominant? You're dominant. Are you ambidextrous or?
Well,
I feel like on some days you're ambidextrous, on others
See,
you're lefty.
it's weird. Like there's ambidextrous is kind of like you're 50-50 on both. You know what I mean? Like you can do every task with your left and right hand. That's what that means. What I am is some tasks I'm lefty, some tasks I'm righty. And I don't know what the term is for like neither lefty nor righty, but I think that's what I have. Because I don't get it either, man. Like in baseball, I bat lefty and I catch righty. Or I throw righty and I bat lefty, you know.
What?
In volleyball, I hit righty. In tennis, I hit lefty.
That's the weird. I think that's just ambidextrous. No.
Well, I think it's like if there's a bat or like a handle, I'll probably hold it in my left hand. But
Do you golf lefty? You golf lefty.
I go off lefty. Yeah.
Oh, maybe that is the reason.
You see the in basketball, I'm lefty too, though. But
don't understand.
I righty, and I hold my mouse in my right hand. And
Do lefties hold their mouse in their left hand?
I think some of them do. Yeah, have you ever seen those
No.
lefty mice?
Not
It's
really.
so weird.
Because how do you WAS? That's weird.
Yeah, you'd have to WASD like this. That's
Really?
weird.
Oh, no thanks,
I
bro.
wouldn't do it.
I'll just never play video games.
Yeah, just stick to the phone at that point. I don't
Yeah.
know how. What I feel like there was a certain term for that, but I don't know what it is.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Dude, have you seen the Switch
Unique.
2?
No, I haven't. I mean,
Haven't?
I've seen like the news about it, but I don't know. I haven't seen any videos on it.
Well, that's unfortunate. I can't really discuss that.
It doesn't seem that great.
What do you mean? It seems amazing.
Really?
Yeah. You can like detach it and stuff.
Is it? Wow. What, the controllers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
Like the normal Switch?
Yeah. Well, no, but like a
I
different
mean, it
one.
seems like pretty expensive, but how is it better than the Switch?
It's more powerful. It's bigger. It has higher resolution. It's more powerful. It's bigger. The Switch things, like the Joy-Cons, can be used as a mouse.
Oh, really?
you believe
All
that,
right.
bro?
I might buy it just for that.
Can
That's
you
pretty cool.
believe that? And then the dock also has like an external power thing, so you can do 4K to your TV.
Wait, what?
The dock
External
has an external
power
power thing, so you can do
What do you
4K to
mean?
your TV.
What do you mean
The
by
dock
that?
supplies more power, so you can do 4K to your TV. The dock
Interesting. I know the dock.
supplies
I'm
more
trying to think.
power.
Like, how does more graphics processing power?
I guess so.
Okay, interesting.
So you can do 4K to to the TV.
I didn't know it could do that. I'd rather have more FPS, but
Oh, it's 120 FPS too. Instead of
okay,
60.
Is it
Maybe it was
60?
less,
I thought
I
the
don't know.
Switch was 30.
I have no idea.
It
But
was-
it's 120 now.
I thought it was 30. That's a big jump right there. That's the biggest one, I think, in my opinion.
It's just a spec bump across the board. It's 450 like USD, but it's gonna be
Really?
the biggest console in the world.
I could have
by
sworn
far.
it was like 600 something.
No, 450.
Really?
It's 450, and then with the Mario edition's 500.
There's always a Mario edition.
Yeah.
You said it's going to be the biggest console in the world?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, but the games are like $80.
I wonder if it's
Can
bigger
you
than the
believe
Switch
that,
one.
bro?
I can't.
It's definitely gonna beat the Switch one. It's significantly better.
Really?
It has a chat button.
What does that mean?
You can chat with people with a button.
Like chat with who? Like your friends?
Your people in like your party, like an Xbox chat kind of thing.
Oh,
And
really?
you can screen share with them,
Oh, that's cool.
and so you can see what they're playing too.
I might have to get one.
And you can like, you should. It's only $450, bro.
That's not bad. I wonder if I can
It's
trade
really
in my
not bad. Like
Switch.
if you like the original Switch came out in like 2017,
2018.
2018, 2017,
I got it in 2018.
And so 2018,
April
so
20th.
If you account for inflation, bro, like that's low key not bad. 450, it's really not bad at all.
Yeah, 450.
Love
Yeah.
Nintendo.
It's not bad. Now games, on the other hand, $80.
Okay, it's
is
a little bit
crazy.
silly for a digital game too. It's not even the physical.
Yeah.
Can you believe that, bro?
You know, I thought it was outrageous, but I actually talked to my dad about it because he used to be a pretty big gamer too, and he said even back then it still costed like 60 a game. So apparently it's been due for a while.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Can you believe? Like, I
game
don't want to pay
stays
$80 for. I don't know. Do you be video gaming much?
Yeah.
Nowadays.
I still play a lot. Yeah.
Really? What you be playing?
I play a lot of Rocket League. I've been playing that a lot, and I'll hop on Hypixel Skyblock every once in a
Yeah.
while.
Oh well. I guess I should forget.
There's a whole story with that. I ended up writing. That's actually what I worked with AI on, was the bot for
You
that.
want to tell it?
I mean, it's essentially AI. Finally, we talked a lot. We had a long conversation about AI and coding.
Did we talk about Skyblock already on the pod?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I was
So-
just going to do a quick mention of it.
Yeah.
You know, basically, just we talked about coding already and how it finally got to the point. So I essentially worked with Claude AI to code it's pretty much just a simple, when items get to the right price, you know, it'll send like a Discord alert, and I made a Discord channel and it'll send alerts. And it's actually a lot of fun working with the AI and learning how it thought, and, you know, everything. I don't even remember, how did we get on this topic again? Oh yeah,
Who cares?
yeah, Hypixel
We just be
Skyblock.
flowing, bro.
Well, I know, but I say that to remember why I even started talking about
Oh,
it
I
sometimes,
gotcha.
you know.
We just be
but-
flying, bro. You know who else
Yeah.
be flying?
Oh,
The little Einsteins, bro.
bro.
Bro,
I've never seen it.
I've been watching the little Einsteins recently, bro.
Actually?
It is low key peak.
Are you actually watching it?
Kind of, kind of, dude.
No, don't be
At
embarrassed.
the beginning of every episode, they have from like a filmmaking perspective, it's actually really cool. At the beginning of,
I appreciate the art.
I appreciate the art of Little Einstein. At the beginning of every episode, they have like the music that they play throughout the episode, and bro, I'm so serious. I'm so serious.
Keep going.
And so they like incorporate the music so well, and it's just like using like, all right, buddy, using old fashioned music into like this new format and making it seem just like It's, you guys should watch The Little Einsteins.
The Little Einsteins. It's
really
what a
cool.
kid's show. What's it even about?
I don't even know, bro. They
What
be
do you
flying
mean?
around a rocket, like doing. I don't even know. I couldn't tell. Oh, I'll tell you. I watched this one episode. It was, it was really weird, bro. So I think it was the first ever episode of The Little Einsteins.
Really?
And so one of the girls, she was dancing in like a field, right? Super normal. And then she had a telescope and she was looking at Saturn, all right? Like,
Sure.
okay, you know what I mean? And then she started dancing along to Saturn's rings. And then one of Saturn's rings just kind of popped off and started jumping around the planets and went to Earth and landed on her finger, bro.
What?
And she just started carrying Saturn's rings, and then they heard like a tune from like Guatemala or something, and they had to go in rocket to like find the tune, and like somehow the goal was to like return the ring of Saturn to Saturn. So it's like the plot isn't amazing.
What? Why? What's the best part
But the
about it?
music, bro, the score in the Little Einsteins is peak.
Really?
You should watch the Little Einsteins. Watch the first episode and just notice how they like implement the score into the. It made it really compelling. Bro.
Oh.
It made it really compelling. And the fact that they say the music at the beginning, it's just really cool.
They say the music?
Yeah, they say like it's
Wow.
like Beethoven or something. You know what I mean? Like high quality
Oh,
stuff,
okay,
bro.
that's pretty cool,
And then
actually.
they be just play. It's like piano-y, violin-y, like old time.
That might be the. Do they still make that?
No,
Okay.
it was a long time
Kid
ago.
shows back in the day were so good.
Bro,
Man. What
that's
happened
what I'm
to them?
saying,
The only good one nowadays is like Bluey. That's it.
I don't even know what that is.
Really, it's the blue talking dog. If you probably heard the theme song before on TikTok or something.
Bluey,
Yeah, that's what it
like
was
the one
called.
with the notepad.
No, that's Blue's Clues.
Oh my goodness, I'm
That's
sorry.
an OG one, bro. That's
an
such a
OG
good one.
Blue's Clues. Bro.
Yeah, you know the main guy ended up ODing.
Bro,
know
I
that?
feel like that's like with everybody.
All the kids'
nowadays,
shows.
bro. All the kids shows. They're either like
Truly.
a well, I guess they're either.
It's a very
they
interesting
just
correlation,
OD.
like trying to make kids happy and people happy, and like being depressed on the outside or on the inside. You know what I mean? I think there's a real thing about that. Like it's kind of like the common trope. It's like the class clown is always the one with the worst home status. You know what I mean? Or like take Robin Williams for example. He was
Who's that?
one of the funniest guys ever. I mean, he was just, you could sit him in a room and you could just let him talk and he'd just say the funniest stuff. Like it just came in his mind. He was just genuinely a comedic genius, and he ended up
I can relate to that guy.
yeah, he ended up killing himself.
Okay.
I mean, he was very, very depressed, you know. And it's just, that's an example of somebody who, it's the funniest people who always end up being the most depressed. And you see that too with like stand-up comedians. You'll see a lot, they're very diverse on their ability to function, you know, on their own. Or not function on their own, as in like just their emotional state and kind of their own sense of
That's interesting.
self.
Do you think something? Do you think because I see it kind of on both sides of the spectrum. Maybe spectrum's not the best word to use, but they like like
Who's
they're
they in this case?
comedians. They like you were talking about always have like some like something they're dealing with, or they're always like really emotionally intelligent and really smart. And so I feel like both ends of the spectrum are like good for comedy. You know what I mean? What do you think about that? Like, is there like a trait of comedy that just to be a good comedian, do you need a trait that both really depressed and really happy people have?
That's a good way to think about it. I'm not sure about that. I mean,
Yeah.
statistically, I mean, there's at least a correlation between that. I'm not sure if there would be a causation. You know, there might be something that they inherently, you know, either are born with, or there could be some connection in their childhood that caused them to, you know, end up being this way. Both on the extreme sides of the spectrum. It's a very interesting point. It could be like that.
Maybe overthinking.
Yeah, I mean, most of the
Ability.
comedians that I think of first are the ones that are kind of crazy when they're not performing. You know what I mean? They're not crazy, but just
I mean, I think of like if you see Matt Rife in some of his podcasts, he's very intelligent. You see like Andrew Schultz, he's also very intelligent.
Yeah.
He just had a kid. So, some people like that who seem very intelligent, especially like emotional intelligence, is a common trait I see among comedians. And I don't know the home life of like Andrew Schultz or Matt Rife,
Right.
anybody like that. But it's something that I've noticed. To like what you were talking about, like both sides of it, I feel like it's always like either or.
yeah.
And I'm curious if there's like a correlation between the two.
Yeah, and I think there's probably, you could probably make a valid case to expand that, not just to comedians, but to other similar highly emotionally intelligent people. Or maybe not emotionally intelligent, but just their own types of intelligence. You know, normally you'll see the more intelligent people get on average, you know, the harder it is to stay truly happy. You see a lot of
Wait, what do you mean?
from what I've seen, the people with like pretty like high IQ, as in last 3% of the bell curve, you know, like very high IQ, they very much struggle staying happy and like not getting depressed in their life.
Because they're like overthinking things all the time?
I suppose that's kind of just ignorance is bliss, you know.
Sure, yeah.
In a way, I mean that's kind of what they're saying. I'm not sure exactly what causes that causation, or I think there's, from what I've seen, there's more of a causation than it is correlation. So there is pretty solid evidence, and so I feel like you could probably make the claim that it's not just the comedians who have that intelligence, but people who have general types of intelligence in their own life. I guess that's all I was trying to say. It's a very interesting topic.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm curious what you guys think in the comments below. I'm really curious, like the different, like very happy and very depressed people having similar characteristics that lead to similar career paths.
Yeah.
Maybe acting's also a good way to, like, I feel like there's two sides to that as well. Like you either, I'm not gonna. So I'm curious what you guys think about that. Please comment below.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, would you rather be stupid and happy, or smart and depressed?
Kind of like red pill, blue
Yeah,
pill.
exactly.
The more I think, I'm actually curious.
It actually is like that.
I'm curious where you land on that. I could go if you want time to think.
Yeah, please go. It's a rough question for me.
So let me just make sure I have my terms right. Red pill is like Secrets to the Universe, right?
Yeah, so red pill is Secrets to the Universe, and then blue pill is Stay in the
blissful
Matrix.
ignorance, basically.
Yep.
I kind of taking it back to the earlier parts of the podcast, like I was like most people, right, that age and this age, was very like red pilly, like I have to know this, who's millionaire, get me out of the Matrix, whatever. The more I'm getting older, the more I'm actually leaning more towards a content with blue pill
Me too.
lifestyle.
That's why it's so hard for me to answer this question.
Yeah, and I feel like I would almost rather. I feel like I would pick at this point in my life, I feel like I would pick the blue pill.
Mm. Yeah, that's a great question. It's so hard to answer as you're growing up because it ends up changing, towards more blue pill. Like I'll end up watching, like I was watching The Hobbit. I don't know if you ever seen that series, like the Lord of the Rings series. But I was watching and they kind of just, their life is like they don't have to pay any money. Somebody makes food and then somebody does this and somebody does this, and they all live in this they call the Shire. Like, and they're just content with their lives and they don't try for anything past that.
Yeah.
And they just seem like they enjoy their life so much, and
that's why it's called subjective well-being. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that's a good way to put it. And I don't know if that's, obviously there's some good in between, but innovation at what cost at a certain point? Like, you could be content and not trying to push humanity forward at all and be, perfectly happy, quote unquote. Or you can spend your entire world or entire country's resources trying to expand humanity's innovations, right?
But for what?
Right, but for what? And that's
if everybody's can't pay for eggs.
Right, like that's why.
Not to get political.
Yeah, I mean, it is. To go into the political side a little bit, that kind of is why.
It's real good.
Why capitalism ends up working so well is because people have the incentive to do all of this innovation stuff. Like, if people have the incentive to go for, like, to actually be able to make millions of dollars, they're going to push for innovation, and that's like their incentive to innovate. That's why I feel like America is so ahead of the game on innovation, is because that's where our incentives are. But then it kind of gets to the point where it's like innovation at what cost,
Yeah.
Because we could just stop and enjoy what the resources we have, and I don't know, I guess enjoy that, but we don't. So.
Yeah, and I think it's dangerous because I think that there isn't, at least in that very specific context, I don't know if there's such thing as like stagnation. I think it's either going further forward or going in reverse, especially if everybody else in the world is going forward. And so it's like, how do you balance that? Because you can't, like, it isn't an and or an or, it's how much. In real life, red pill, blue pill is how much of each.
Right. And
dilating between the two. I think it's interesting that we get older and, there go all my topics. I think it's interesting we get older and you and me both kind of share the opinion of maybe we were both a lot more on the red pill side and now we're kind of leaning to we don't know kind of thing, if that's fair to say for you.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, I think that's interesting. It's really something to think about, and it's something I haven't given a lot of thought to. I just, I was curious where you landed.
Yeah.
Because I'm different than how I was. Believe it or not, freaking I've changed.
Right. I'm sure we'll have a different answer in a year. Right?
I'm sure we will. We should. Like, maybe not, maybe, yeah, probably a year. I'm drastically different from how I was a year ago. Maybe we will. We definitely will in 10. You know what I mean? I think that's great.
Yeah. Or maybe we'll have the same opinion, but at least more supporting reasons of why it's actually the case, you know. No, you're good.
Oh, no.
Yeah, now we're chilling.
I was gonna say.
Would you rather...
Hit me, bro.
You ready? Would you rather kill one kid on live television, and everybody knows about it, or would you kill 5 kids in the woods and nobody ever
I
knows?
think you asked me this on episode 6.
How do you know that? That's crazy.
Because I edit all of them.
Nobody remembers that except for you.
Let's see.
Really? Oh, fine.
It was the one. It was the only one where we actually went fishing.
I think it was one where I was fishing with my feet, I think.
No, not really. You got stuck in a tree the whole time. You couldn't.
Oh,
fish.
yeah.
That was episode 2. Because we were going to try to fish with our feet on episode 2, but then I got stuck in a tree, then you got stuck in a tree. And we just spent the whole podcast just chilling in trees with our fishing rods.
Kind of fit.
We used to want to do like fishing on the podcast, and then we were just like, we just get stuck in trees.
But back then, we were at the point where every single time we'd gone fishing, we'd just get stuck in a tree. Where it was kind of like our niche, where we'd go out and we'd get stuck in a tree, and then that's just the whole day. That was our niche within That's the niche. Whole day.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
What was the question? I'd with the 1 kid one, and it was public. That's the same answer I gave last time. Because it's 1 kid versus 5, bro.
Cameras off. That's your same answer.
What?
If the cameras were off, that'd be your answer too.
Not at all, bro. I'm only saying for the cameras. What do you mean?
All right.
I'm just kidding.
So. If you say so, I'll do the same, of course. You know.
You said you said the same thing with the same tonality on episode 6, bro. That's crazy. Maybe we haven't changed.
That is funny. All right, I got a different then.
Okay.
How do you think dinosaurs really died? Do you really think it was a meteor?
Yeah.
You really think so?
Had to be, bro.
Why?
Because
you think it had to be.
Imagine being a dinosaur and being like, what are the giraffes of the dinosaurs? You know what I'm saying? What's it called?
Huh?
Like the long neck giraffe dinosaur?
Rhinos? I don't know.
That's not a dinosaur.
I don't know.
No, like the long...
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I've seen them on Ark, the game.
I was about to say that same
like
thing.
Stegosaurus,
That's crazy.
Right?
Stegosaurus, probably. Who knows? So the big long neckosaurus.
Let me know if I'm wrong. Yeah.
Long neckosaurus, and then it
long neckosaurus.
It's so long that it acts as like a lightning rod for all the meteors, and so the meteors come crashing down like this, and
You're telling me not a single dinosaur stayed awake, or not a single dinosaur could have survived a full meteor.
Well, I think some are wired.
Like, there's got to be a dinosaur that went for like a fat nap in a cave and woke up and went outside and was just like, wow.
The cave would have been booted, bro.
You think so? But with how many dinosaurs there were, like, how big did the meteor hit? Did it kill everything on the planet?
Were there dinosaurs across the whole planet or just a region of the planet?
I thought it was a good section. I mean, it was Pangea back then, so...
Shoot.
I guess
that's probably how, bro.
They didn't have anywhere to run, literally.
Was it really Pangea then? Are you sure?
Dinosaur time?
Yeah.
I think so. I don't know. I mean, that was what? A couple million years ago? 3 billion?
Something slight.
I don't really know, like, to be honest. Like, time scale wise.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly.
It literally could have been yesterday for all I know.
Yesterday, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that if you were to take all of Earth's history and put it, like, kind of convert it to 1 year. So at the very start of Earth was January 1st, and where we're at now is December 31st. So if you imagine it like that. We've been on this Earth, humanity, for, I believe, like 18 seconds of the whole year. If you think about it in that time scale.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like the entire history of all humanity, if you were to take Earth's history and put it into 1 year.
That makes sense.
We've only been here for the last 18 seconds.
Yeah,
of the
like
year.
humanity. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So,
I think Earth's 4 billion, 4.2 billion.
Yeah.
Because the observable is 13.8. And so I think Earth's 4.2 billion.
Yeah, that's crazy. And we're only a couple 100,000.
You know what's crazy to me, bro?
What's that?
Is the observable universe is 13.8, but the consensus is that there's so much more.
Yeah, like 70 billion more.
Yeah, well, I don't know. But apparently there's so much more than what we can just observe from Earth. Because we can only see with Earth at the center of everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so the observable universe is just 13.8 around Earth. But bro, there's so much more.
Yeah, it makes me.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, that fact alone really makes me think that we're in a simulation, because that is literally what a render distance is in games. We literally, as Earth, have a render distance in the universe.
Well,
You can't tell me I'm wrong.
yeah, that's a good point actually.
Um,
Shoot.
But yeah, I mean, it kind of makes me. It gives. It's kind of understandable that they thought that Earth was in the center of the universe, and like everything was flat. You know,
To our
it kind of makes
perspective,
sense. a
technically
little
it
bit.
is.
Yeah, like everything looks flat to us, and
Yeah.
if anything,
Unless you're in a plane.
right, with seeing like the sun go around you and the moon, I mean, you literally think this was the center of the universe. It makes sense.
Everything revolves
It's
around you.
crazy. It would be so cool to me, just every single night with no light pollution, you could just look up and see the entirety of the Milky Way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome. That's something on my bucket list.
What?
Is to go somewhere on Earth where there's like really no light pollution and just look up and just see the stars.
Do you know what's cool in space to me? Is black holes, bro.
I love it. I could talk
you
about that
see
for
the
hours.
pictures that they took of actual real picture of a black hole in 2019 they took? Like a real one.
Yeah,
Like a
that's
real
amazing.
picture, not just math, like it actually exists.
Right. They take a picture of the light surrounding it.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
I forget what it's called.
The event horizon.
That's the one, Event Horizon.
The point where once something enters, it can never
Can't
leave.
even light, bro. Even light. So cool. I
could-
want to
yeah,
go in.
I could truly talk
I
about
want to
black
go in,
holes
bro.
forever.
Hit me, bro.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I love space. I mean, it's very interesting to me thinking about black holes in the sense of, imagine that this was a simulation, right? So assume that this is a simulation. What purpose do you think black holes would serve? That's a very interesting question to me. That got me thinking. I mean, there's obviously, a lot of theories of what people think it could be. But, if it were to be a simulation, that would be a pretty dang good trash can, in my opinion. I mean, think about it in the fact that, like, okay, I'll try to explain it. Like, if you think about a pen, like think about a pen in my hand. If I were to burn that pen, I wouldn't have a pen anymore, but the chemical, all of the elements would still be out in the earth, right?
Yeah, like energy can't be created or destroyed. can it?
Right. And that's what's interesting about black holes is that once something goes in and it gets to the center, not the energy, but the matter is literally broken down and turned into what they call Hawking radiation, which is kind of like very complicated. Like the edge of the black hole, there's kind of particles that are popping in and out of existence, essentially. But it could be that things that are going in end up leaving through that, and it could be like a genuine trash can, like in the universe. I think that's interesting to think about. It's just like, what purpose would black holes even serve? Because we really don't know too much about them.
We really
Very
don't.
interesting to me.
Do you think that wormholes are possible?
I think that they're possible. Yeah, aren't they like scientifically proven?
They're mathematically possible, but not proven.
Okay.
Like the
that-
math
yeah,
says
that's a
it
good
is
point.
impossible, but the math also says that it kind of isn't naturally occurring either.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I like the theory is very interesting to me that at the center of a black hole is an entrance to another universe.
yeah. Because this is all like mathematical theory.
There's parts of math
But
that support this. as
yeah,
well.
there's like they can like map out a black hole and like see how it could possibly lead to other.
Yeah, I read a book on it. I'm trying to remember. There's a graph that they call
Exactly.
that.
It kind of looks like this.
Yep,
And then
a diamond, and then
and then
yeah.
another
So
diamond, and then
imagine our universe is a diamond, and a black hole kind of goes along the edge of a diamond, and then there's another diamond here. This is not a good explanation, but there's diamonds that are like connecting to each other, and then there's a black hole. Just look.
And
it
then
up.
it also like leaves room for white holes too, which
I've never heard of
is
that.
technically not possible, but which is why like there's a contention.
Theoretical.
Yeah, it's theoretical, but apparently like if that's true, then white holes also must exist if that map is accurate.
What are white holes?
Apparently, just the opposite of black holes.
What is that?
So if it
Something that
sucks
pushes
everything in,
everything
it
out?
pushes everything out.
Huh.
I'm not 100% on that,
That's
so
interesting.
just fact check me on that last part.
Right. I mean, how would that work?
That's exactly. That's why they're technically theoretically impossible.
Right. I mean, black holes are weird too. Like, what makes a black hole? Like, how does a black hole ever end? Like, that's a good
Well,
question. to think
doesn't
about,
it
too, you know?
slowly lose mass, or is that just a
It
theory?
does, and that's what I think Hawking radiation is sort of Stephen Hawking's explanation for why black holes even got smaller in the first place. Because there's no reason. Like, if you think about it, there's not really a reason to prove why they should be getting any smaller. Like, there's nothing if no mass is able to leave the event horizon, then why would the black hole ever get smaller? So that's why we have a lot of theories of why, why does it get smaller in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the only one I could really talk about is Hawking radiation. But
Yeah.
I think they're cool.
Black holes are so interesting,
I
bro.
think it's cool how they're formed too.
How they formed.
Oh, so if I can explain this correctly, this is a very rudimentary version of what.
Let's just preface,
Right.
we don't know. Do your own research.
Right.
Go.
Yeah, seriously. And this is sort of the entrance to Hawking's field theory, but it starts with a star, and as you go down, there are certain layers of a star. There's different elements that get denser and denser, and as the star gets older, they get bigger, and these elements start forming newer elements in the middle. So kind of there's an element in the middle, and it slowly expands as it gets older, and then a new super dense element starts, and it keeps going and it keeps going, and eventually it gets to iron, the element iron, and that's the very center of this star. And I believe iron is to the point where it's just too much pressure pushing inwards to where it, I believe, implodes and becomes a black hole, from what I remember correctly, and that's what starts. It's when the mass is like, I don't remember the exact numbers, but it's like this amount of density, or this amount of mass with this much density equals black hole. Seriously, I mean, there is a calculation to that.
That's interesting.
And then there's small black holes and supermassive.
I love
black holes.
how the supermassive ones that are like in galaxies.
Yeah.
Like Sagittarius A is one of the ones they took a picture of, which is the one in our galaxy. That's so cool, bro.
I think it's awesome.
We're in a black hole, low key.
We're heading towards a black hole right now.
Heading towards a black hole.
And I'm sure
bro.
our black hole is heading towards a bigger black hole.
Yeah,
I'm sure
it's heading towards the Andromeda galaxy.
Really?
It technically isn't proven that there's a black hole inside of every galaxy. It's interesting. I noticed that they're careful with their terminology. They don't say every.
Interesting.
It's interesting. You'll notice in like the astrophysicist space, they're very careful with saying they don't know a lot. It's
For good
all
reason,
it's you know what I mean. And so they don't say there is definitely, but they say probably. Most galaxies have a black hole in the center. So we're heading towards the Andromeda black hole right now, bro.
Right.
We're about to collide. It's about to be crazy. It's about to be crazy, yo.
I don't think I'm ever gonna. You know what? Maybe we'll have theories by the time I'm dead. But I don't think I'm ever gonna figure out what's gonna happen if two black holes collide. That would be so cool to me. I would love to know what would happen.
Yeah, I'm just
see
pumped, dude. I'm pumped to see what we learn in the next like however long I'm alive,
lifetime,
bro.
honestly.
I'm gonna keep my studies up just because it's so interesting.
Mm-hmm. I love space.
So
For a while, I wanted to go into that.
Yeah,
that
you
field
wanted
of
to
study.
be a don't tell me, something math, astro mathematician or something.
Astronautical engineer. Yeah.
I was so close.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Something
then like your
math.
math teacher, like
Yeah.
something like that. I think we talked about that already.
I think we did too. I had a teacher that killed my love for it. I still love it,
Oh,
actually.
dude! Oh god, I thought you were gonna say something else when you said I had a
Killed
teacher
my
that killed my. Bro, scared me.
Nah.
That scared me, bro.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's not too late.
I have a question. That just kind of goes along with this, like thinking like existentially and like death and everything. I'm curious what you think about this
Yeah.
as somebody who isn't religious. Right? I don't like speaking for you, so I try to check. But if you could prove, or if we could prove that there was nothing after death unequivocally, do you think that people would be more motivated to change, or like basically, do you think people would be better or worse off, less or more motivated to actually make something of their lives now, knowing that there isn't something in the future, or would they just fall into a depression, knowing that there isn't something after?
That's a really good question.
Just like that, bro.
Yeah. I think the first basis would be if there were some piece of information that would definitively prove that there's nothing after death. The first thing would be convincing everybody that that's actually the case, because I think there's going to be a lot of people that will see the proof and be like, I don't believe that. Like, they don't know what they're talking about. They can't.
Faith, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Truly, like the faith will beat out the proof, and so the first step is probably, the first couple of generations is just getting everybody to actually believe that that's the case. You know what? It's a good question, and it's a hard one to answer, because throughout all of pretty much human history, there has been major religious, like the majority of, I don't think I'm wrong in saying this. The majority of people have been religious for most of humanity's history.
At least been in religious cultures for
Right.
if I
Exactly. Like the
almost
culture
all
has
of
humanity's culture has been religious for the most part. For
yeah, I don't
almost
think it's
our whole
I don't think
history.
it's incorrect to say that religion has been a part of human culture for as long as can be recorded.
Right. And so I don't. It is. It'd be interesting to see if after the generations of once everybody truly believes there's nothing after death, the question is, would that motivate people or hurt them less? I think with enough time, it would end up motivating people. I mean, first off, the fact that there is a definitive answer, like a for sure, like this is the answer. There is nothing else after that. If people know for 100% there's nothing else after that, then they're going to try to take their own lives they're going to try to take their own lives more seriously. Because for a while, and honestly I still kind of think about this now, like I believe that there's nothing after death because like that's what makes humanity, like that's what makes my life worth living, is because it's not forever. So I think once people can finally accept that 100% it isn't forever, they're going to take this more seriously, and they're truly going to be like, there's nothing after this, so we need to do this now before, because once I die, there's nothing more. So if anything, they probably take it more seriously.
I gotcha.
That's how I think.
You're saying it would just take a while to get there.
I think it would take a couple generations. Yeah.
It's an interesting point you brought up of like, even if you could sincerely prove something, there would be people who still cling on to faith. I actually think it would be the majority of faith people who do just continue to cling on to faith.
Right. Didn't we talk about that with the ghost thing? Or if we could definitively prove aliens, there'd still be a lot of people that just don't believe it.
Yeah. I don't know if we talked about that, but because this is interesting. In the Christian space, there's a young Earth and old Earth debate. Are you familiar?
6,000 years old or something.
Versus like the billions.
Yeah.
And this one's very interesting to me because I make sure to always give Christianity the respect it deserves, because it deserves respect. I think it's a valid belief system. Yeah. I think if people believe it, they're perfectly valid for believing that. But a lot of the Christians that I talk to, I would say the majority are young Earth creationists.
Really? Okay.
To me, that is, I'll use the word ridiculous, because we can see with our eyes that it is not the case.
Right.
And it's just a blatant, it's just blatantly either ignoring the data or making the data align with your view. I'll say a name. I respect this person a lot, Ken Ham, who's a really popular young Earth creationist. He kind of founded like the Creation Museum. It's like a big museum with like Noah's Ark and everything. I really respect everything he does. I think he's a great commentator. I think he's a great debater. I love to sit down and have a conversation with him someday. I think he's a great person as well, like just, in general. But he holds to the young Earth view, and he holds whole presentations. He actually had a debate with Bill Nye about young Earth versus old Earth. It is a logical fallacy. You are letting the data, you are arriving at a predetermined conclusion and then making the data arrive with that conclusion. And so in doing so, you miss a lot of key details, and you see things like skeletons on like the top of Mount Everest, and you're like, oh, there must have been a flood around the whole Earth. And it's like, no, maybe
you only get to that outcome if there's a predisposed belief.
Yeah, it's presupposition. Like Dan McClellan talks about this a lot. He's a brilliant scholar of the Bible and religion. He's brilliant. He has a YouTube channel. If you're curious about religion in any capacity, I would check him out. Dan McClellan. He's absolutely brilliant. He has a big, he says data over dogma.
Oh, nice.
He's really against dogmatic presuppositions, and I completely support that. I think that a big deterrent for me from the faith was understanding that to make the data align with Christianity, you have to predetermine that Christianity is true, and then decide and then make the data align with that conclusion. You'll notice that apologists, which apologetics is just the defense of the Christian faith, which in and of itself, by definition, is also coming to a predetermined conclusion. They're making the data align with that conclusion. You'll notice apologists, the disproportionate majority of apologists become Christian before they become apologists.
Right.
They have quote been saved. They have given their life up to the Lord, and now they need to make the data align with this conclusion. I understand that it's a lot more complex than that, and maybe it's not fair for me to make that generalization like I am, but for the sake of this scope of conversation, I will. But I also do want to make the point that Christianity, apologetics, and everything in between, and like non-Christian and all of that spirituality is extremely complex. I've spent like 4 or 5 years, maybe even 6 years if you like count like really early on, like really diving heavily into this, and I have literally scratched the surface. It's the thing that I've spent the most time on ever out of anything ever, and I literally know nothing in comparison.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It's interesting that you say the majority of apologetics teachers, or like the biggest defenders of Christianity, are people that ended up making that decision, like, of what they believe before they did the research in apologetics.
Yeah, and maybe it's not before they did the research, but
or at least before they made the choice to teach it.
Sure. Yeah. You can. I think you can make that generalization, but it's I think it's really, really unfortunate. And just we'll wrap up here in a second for the podcast, but for some closing words to the audience, Christianity is great. In my opinion, it's amazing, and it's probably better than what I believe, but be very cognizant about where you let the data lead you. Just make sure that you listen to the data before you listen to any presuppositions you may have, and that takes years of trying.
Yeah.
You can't just do it, because we're not born, we're raised, sort of like, people are raised 18 years to be a Christian. Like, of course, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. And so it's hard to get rid of those presuppositions. It's almost impossible.
Yeah, I like that.
Everybody has presuppositions. I do too. I haven't gotten rid of them fully.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good way to end it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let us know how we did. Also, let us know if you have any topics you want us to cover. You got any closing statements?
Like and subscribe.
Stay safe. Stay healthy.
Stay safe. Stay healthy.
See you next time.
See y'all.
Peace.
Peace out.
Yes, sir. That one felt really quick. That one felt quicker than the last one.
Bro. The last one felt really quick.
Really? The last one, it felt like medium, but I liked the way we were talking. And this one felt really quick, and I like.
We're flowing a lot better. I've noticed we're switching between topics a lot better. It's getting good. We're getting really good at this, bro.
Yeah, I realize it's better if you just don't say you're switching topics and just switch
100%, it. Yeah, I try to like correlate it in with what you're saying just a little bit, but it's kind of
yours are a stretch, but you're like talking about
things I like. Chipotle.
Yeah, bro. What is that?